the former president and the French arms manufacturer Thales corruption case has now been postponed to Wednesday for a ruling on whether the case should in fact be put on ice pending Zuma's constitutional court bid to have the lead prosecutor, Advocate Billy Downer, removed from the case. The former president and Thales, which is a French arms firm, face 18 counts related to corruption, money laundering, tax evasion and racketeering. Let's get you more on the story. Bring in our reporter Ziyanda Ngcobo, who's been in court. Ziyanda, many developments within a single case. Sum up what's happened today so far.
So basically, Tembekile, the state brought an application to not postpone the trial any further. In fact, prosecutor Billy Downer said that we can't go on any further this way. And he's argued and used the Superior Courts Act to make an argument that while the Constitutional Court makes a determination on whether or not it's going to appeal and overturn the decision to dismiss former President Jacob Zuma's plea to have Downer removed from the case, he says this matter must get underway now. Let's listen to what he had to say.
I don't know how many prosecutors they have. If they know that we have an issue with Billy Downer, surely of the hundreds of prosecutors they have, they should have just said, okay, we'll pull your bluff. Here's prosecutor number 2. So if indeed they wanted this case themselves, they would have done this. They are putting Billy Downer because they know that Billy Downer has got issues. This guy is a serial offender. So we're talking about an accused person here. His hands are not fit and proper to be the one prosecuting President Zuma. He can't. He's an accused number 1. How can it be that a person who is in the dock, how can it be that a person accused in a criminal trial that carries a heavy sentence of 15 years be seen to be fit and proper to prosecute anyone for that matter?
My Lord, what we say is that on page 1 of my note, that the state opposes the application, and we do so because we describe the process of Section 17(2)(f), the appeal process, first to put it in its proper context, so that the court knows what it was dealing with and what the new application, which has now moved on from Section 17(2)(f), what that application consists of and why it's different.
So that's definitely, Mzanele Manyi is not a prosecutor, but you would have heard Billy Downer then speaking about why they believe that the trial should continue. In fact, they'd set down the 7th of November as a proposed date to start the trial. But at the same time, on the other hand, Tembekile, Ngcobo, who is representing former President Jacob Zuma, raised sharply the issue of the fact that today's date was actually was a holding date in the first instance, hence the first accused was not even in court, and that this date was set down for administrative issues to deal then, with whatever may or may not have happened by today. So we know that the Constitutional Court made a determination by the 23rd of September that it would not then be reconsidering the reconsideration application by the then Supreme Court of Appeal Judge President Mandi Samaya, but they did leave room for a leave to appeal for the former president, which is exactly what he's done. So let's hear what Buthelezi had to say.
I'd like to believe at the last postponement, I was the one appearing and doing that postponement. 2 things. We agreed firstly that the accused didn't need to be here because the purpose of today would be to address administrative issues in as far as whether we resume on the 7th of November or what is the outcome of the processes from the higher court.
So Tembekile, now we are going to be back at this court on Wednesday the 19th, where Judge Piet Koen will hand down a ruling on whether or not then we'll see any further postponements regarding then this arms deal trial. And somebody who'd be interested in this is Mzanele Manyi. I mean, another delay on the horizon. Where to from now? We know that on Wednesday you're also meant to be having your own briefing where the patron of your foundation, former President Jacob Zuma, is expected to brief the nation.
Yeah, no, I think firstly, let's underscore the fact that what we've seen today was a bizarre situation, a bizarre submission by Advocate Downer of the NPA. He comes on off tangent. Today's date, as you correctly point out in your intro, it was a holding date, administrative date to agree way forward. Instead, the man makes a whole hour submission on why postponement should not be granted, and yet the judge is not sitting with an application for postponement. The only time Dano should have made that argument, it should have been in response to the application for postponement. His Excellency President Zuma did not apply for any postponement because that did not arise. Today's date was a holding date to give the judge heads up as to where things are, how do we go from here. So he made two cardinal sins. Firstly, he responded to a non-existent application. Secondly, he also delves into criminal matters that involve President Zuma in that case. Now, every advocate that's worth his salt would know that Section 35 of the Constitution would bar you from deciding criminal matters when the accused is not in front of the court. President Zuma today was not absent from the court. He was just not required to be in the court. For Downer to come and ambush the court and deal with criminal issues of President Zuma in his absence was most objectionable. So indeed, we were very shocked at this kind of submission by Downer, as if he doesn't know the law. Lastly, one would have thought that anybody, even with the most basic levels of ethics, would know that if you are like Downer and accused number one on a criminal case that is so serious that it actually sentences like a 15-year jail term, anybody facing that kind of a case, not as a suspect but as an accused, would really not be in a position to be standing as if I'm here, I'm holy, I'm a prosecutor, I'm going to prosecute you. So it cannot be that Downer, an accused number one in a criminal case, is a prosecutor for President Zuma. So indeed, what happened today was a bizarre case. Lastly, even the judge himself, he's now not even sure whether he should actually even proceed on this case, because he has pronounced on this case as well. So whether on Wednesday what is going to happen, for me, sitting as a non-lawyer, I actually foresee a situation where Judge Kuhn is going to say, up to here, no further. Somebody else must take over from here. I'm conflicted. That's what I expect him to say.
Quite presumptuous, Mr. Manyi. You have at least admitted that you're not a lawyer. So, Tembegile, on Wednesday, we will be hearing from the lawyers and those who've studied this. Judge Bitkun will be handing down that judgment on whether or not then the trial will actually get underway.
Ziyanda, Ngcobo, thank you very much.